start with Miss Afora.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Can I get a hello from Mr. Adibola?
Hello, everyone.
Perfect, loud and clear. Can I get a welcome or hello from Miss White? We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Welcome and hello to all.
All right, lovely. Thank you everyone for being here in today's session. Again, I'm really, really excited and thank you for making it in early. I promise that you guys, I have hand selected these professionals. These are people that I have either worked with in the past or I know them firsthand to be professionals and authority in their given field. So we're just going to do a very, very quick introduction. It will be really, really short and sweet in 1 minute. I want to start off with Miss White because you were the last person that said hello. So let's start with you. Could you please, in 1 minute, quickly introduce yourself to the house?
Well, hello, everyone. As you know, my name is Rosemary White. I am a manager. I work in the federal space. I have been in the federal space for the last 15 plus years, actually. So I have dealt with a lot of different individuals in the federal space, and I do enjoy it. So it's a good place to be.
Awesome. Thank you. I want you guys use those emojis. Welcome her. Show her some love. I want to see that. Welcome her. Let her feel welcome, please. Awesome. Thank you for that. Can we go with Miss Afora? Would you please introduce yourself in 1 minute?
1 minute. Hi, everyone. My name is Afora Olorunfemi, and I'm a HR transformation and talent acquisition professional. And I've got experience supporting organizations through their end-to-end hiring, workforce optimization, and people analytics. And I've also worked across the public and private sectors in roles that span recruitment, HR technology, and business and data analysis as well. And so my background allows me to look at talent from both a people and a data lens. And I'm excited to be here today to share some of my insight with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Give her, I love that. Thank you so much. All right, Mr. Adibola, you are up.
Hello, everyone. Adibola Hamed, IT professional, over 25 years of experience in the industry. I call myself a digital enthusiast. I am actually experienced in information protection, data privacy. I'm a fellow of information protection, actually, with IAPP, and audit manager for Fortune 500 companies. And just ready to be here. I'm happy to be here, and hopefully we'll be having a nice discussion here tonight. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you. We really, really appreciate those introductions. So what we're going to be doing today, family, right? Like I like to call you guys because I believe that we're all family. We're trying to learn. We're all trying to forge ahead. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to spend the first 30 to 40 minutes. We've curated some questions that we want to ask our panelists. A few of you have also submitted questions, and I'll be asking them questions. And then after this first session, where we would hear their point of views, best practices, advice on what you should do to prepare for that dream job that you're looking forward to having this year or next year for sure, but or possibly this year, because it's never too late. The next half of the session, we're going to be going into breakout rooms. And the way the breakout room would work is for you all, just for everyone to understand, Mr. Adibola, like he described, is in the private sector. So if you want to ask questions about private sector hiring, anything you want to know about private sector and how you can be successful and how you can scale those interviews, Mr. Adibola's room is where you want to be. If you have HR specific questions, talent acquisition, Miss Afora's room is where you want to be. And if you have questions about public sector and how you can, scale those interviews and how you can work with all this big public sector, federal government, whatever, Miss White's room is where you want to be. So let me know if that sounds good. I want to see those thumbs up. If you like that, then we can proceed with the questions. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for that. So I'm going to be starting today's question with HR because I know a lot of times the first blocker to even landing an interview or talking to a hiring manager is the HR. If the HR person opens the door for you, then perhaps you might have an opportunity to impress, right? And have conversations that and show what you really know. So we're going to start off with asking the HR lady some questions. And so Miss Afora, the first question that I would really I want you to help us understand is from your perspective, from an HR perspective, what does it really mean when you say a candidate is not a good match? Can you just in very, very crisp and clear language share what you feel, best practices when you look through a list of 100 people that you need to present to a hiring manager, where what makes a candidate good and what makes a candidate not good, quote unquote.
Um, Thank you so much for that question. And I think it's a really important one for us to talk about. So when hiring managers or when we say a candidate isn't a good match, right? It's really about one thing. It usually means, and it's not, most times candidates are knowledgeable about the role, but sometimes there might be a mismatch between what the role wants at the moment or what the role needs at the moment and what the candidate is able to demonstrate. And so, of course, there are also some subtle elements recruiters pick up on that candidates don't always realize. You know how candidates sometimes, when they're optimizing their resumes, they will add, maybe experiences or skills that they don't actually have. And so HR teams, they're able to ask questions where they can actually pick whether you've actually done what you said you've done in your resume or not, right? And so when a candidate is not a match, right, it could be that they're not able to communicate their value clearly. So like I said, many candidates have the experience, but they're not able to articulate it. And so if I'm struggling, if I, as a hiring manager, am struggling to understand your strengths, maybe the impact you've made in the past on how you solve problems, it becomes an instant mismatch, right? And there's also the case of behavioral misalignment, poor communication skills, right? Maybe you're giving off some kind of negative attitude. Maybe we sense some disrespect during the course of the interview as well. So that would be obviously a mismatch. And a lot of times, the behavioral misalignment part is where um, the major red flags often appear. And I mean, you can know all the, you can have all the knowledge, but if you don't have the right attitude, if you don't have, the right communication skills, if you're disrespectful, right? You'll be out of the door, right? And also, there's a possibility that during the interview as well, you're not able to show that you're ready for the level of the role. Like I mentioned, sometimes we optimize our resumes and we put like experiences that we don't really have. And so hiring managers are able to pick that up, right? It could be that, you're not able to like articulate that you've led at the skill that is required for the role, or you're not able to, or you need more maturity in decision making from your answers, from your responses. So essentially, I will say that when you're not a good match, it's never personal. It also means that maybe someone is able to like articulate, their own value better than you have. So usually means that you didn't show the communication skills that they wanted. There's a behavioral misalignment. You're not able to show that you're a problem solver or you're ready for the level of the role. And so you might be talented, but not the right fit at the time for the role you're interviewing for. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, awesome, awesome. If you're not taking notes, honestly, I would say take notes because there were a few nuggets that she dropped. She said value, you're not able to communicate your value. And oftentimes, I think in the last maybe session or two sessions that I've had with this group or maybe another group within our community, I have shared that the importance of making sure you can communicate your value. If you show a hiring manager or HR person that you are bringing value,
Yeah.
instantly they would like to know more. I think to them you would be a plus to their team rather than a minus. You're not going to be a liability. So if you don't have a notepad, I suggest you to run really quickly before I ask the next question. I want you to take notes because when you go in the breakout room, you have an opportunity to talk one-on-one with these individuals to ask them follow-on questions, okay? All right, Mr. Adibola, again, you're on mute. Thank you so much for your time. If you don't mind, I'm going to be asking you the next question. And the question is, can you please share with us an example of a candidate who impressed you during when you're interviewing for a particular opening that you have within your organization, and what exactly they did that was right to you?
Thank you. That's a great question. I believe examples are great. So let me give you one. There was this particular candidate that came over to have a discussion. For that candidate, from a get-go, uh, you can see the confidence in the candidate. So I say the first thing that anybody can see is confidence. You walk into a room, or since most interviews now are started from Zoom call or Teams call, whether it is in person or over the or virtually over the computers, it is very important to show confidence. But for this particular example I want to use, it is the elevator pitch. Right off from the get-go, he came into the room and he talked about three things. He talked about himself, not about where he was born, not about things that people always think, oh, let me talk about where I'm from, what I like to do. No, he came into the room and he talked about his interest in the company. He talked about his past, and he talked about the future. Give you an example. It's something like this. I'm a cybersecurity professional with so many years of experience, reducing risk and exposures by about 40% through innovative compliance framework. And I want to do this and this and this in your company, and I believe I'm the right candidate for that. So you see, you're connecting yourself into the picture right off the go. Now, the reason that is important is you want to read the room. You don't know who is there, but once you are able to tell them, you're able to connect with the company, then it goes from there. So now I'll talk about this too. He listened. That particular candidate listened. I cannot tell you enough the importance of listening, reading the room and listening. You are listening to the body language. You are listening to you are listening to the verbal cues, what they are saying, and you are able to respond to those questions they are putting across to you. So again, being natural, listening, and just have the right elevator pitch. And please prepare the elevator pitch before you even get into the interview room. Don't wing it. Winging it will make you fail. Now, I'm going to close that question by saying this. Nobody cares how much you know until they see how much you care. Show you care in the room right away. Nobody cares how much you know. But when they see you care, by preparing about the company before you even get there, you prepare something for them. You prepare about the company. You prepare. They know you prepare your elevator pitch. You're gonna soar. You're gonna excel.
Awesome. I love that answer. Thank you so much, Mr. Adibola. Again, I hope you're taking notes. Confidence. We've talked about this a lot of times. And I remember sharing this exact statement with you guys that in my job right now, I always tell the professionals that work with me that one thing you cannot fix is confidence. It is very important to show up confident. So again, if you have follow-on questions for the private sector, Mr. Debola is your man, right? You want to come with those additional questions, additional clarity, and he will help you shed lights into those questions. Ms. White, you're ready for me?
I am ready.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Question for you. So here's the question. What is the biggest difference in hiring expectation for entry level versus senior roles in the public sector? Just to give you a little more background, Ms. White, our group is a mixed bag. We have people that are transitioning or people that are trying to get their first job, or people that are trying to transition from one career to another career. So in your general, advice, or I would say advice, what do you think is the biggest difference in the expectation for entry versus experienced?
So thank you for the question. Hi, everyone, again. So big difference between entry level and a senior role, right? An experienced role. For entry level folks, we are looking for someone who has foundational competencies, yes? Someone who's willing to learn, someone who works, is able to work in a teamwork environment, and someone who is dependable.
Mhm.
You must also have the technical basics, and you're able to grow, which will allow you to grow potentially. But for the person who's experienced, what I expect from them is proven leadership. You have to be able to prove that you are a leader and you can work in complex environments. You also need to have the ability to manage large programs. You need, and of course, we're talking about government, federal, in the federal space. So, a lot of it depends on, but have budgets going on. So you have to be able to manage budget. You have to be able to manage your team. You have to be a strategic thinker. You have to be a very good decision maker. You have to make the decision under scrutiny, under tight deadlines, whatever that comes up. And you also need to have a very deep understanding of the government. So, for instance, we all heard about the government shutdown that just happened, yes? So it shut down and a ton of government workers were furloughed. So they were not working. It was just basic people around, just enough people to keep the lights on. Not to change the bulb, just to keep the lights on going. So in that instance, though, they've been talking about the budget. The budget still hasn't been approved, but what was approved was a continuing resolution. So in the government space, you have your budget, you have your continuing resolution. The continuing resolution is a temporary fix. It could be like 30 days, sometimes 60 days or whatnot until they get that budget going. But for the big difference between the entry level and the senior is that the entry level person, good communicator, willing to learn, ready to roll up your sleeves and get the job done. The experienced person, finally say for the experienced person, yeah, be a leader, be thoughtful, be able to manage your team, develop your team also, be able to develop your team. And you have to be able to prove that you've done that in the past and can still continue doing that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So a few things that I wrote down is entry level, right? She said
Mhm.
good communicator. So folks, if you think you're struggling with your communication skills, I would say you need to get a friend, practice, 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 practice. The more you practice, the better you are at it. Because if you're not a good communicator, you know for sure that the HR lady is not going to let you into the door to have conversations with the hiring manager. So right off the bat, we want to make sure that you're a good communicator if you're entry level. And then if you're experienced, the first few things she mentioned is be a good leader, right? She didn't say know the ins and outs of that area. She said be a good leader, show that you can lead a team, and that is very important. So, again, like I have often shared with you all, knowing the skill to deliver the job is still part of what I consider like the first, I would say it doesn't come on the list of the top three on the list as you go through your interview. As much as that is important, some of this other soft skill are equally as important, if not more important. So um, make sure you're taking notes. If you have additional questions for the public sector, and if your dream has always been to work in the federal government, you would have an opportunity to speak with Miss White. So HR, I'm coming back for you. You ready for me? Okay, so this is a very good question. I personally like the question, and I really want you to help us because I've heard from a lot of people that they struggle with when they struggle with answering the question, tell me about yourself.
Mm,
Like Mr. Adibola was saying, people will tell you where they're born. I have two cats, I have one dog, I have one,
yeah.
very irrelevant conversation or,
Yeah.
points. So, as a hiring manager, because don't forget, you're the gatekeeper here, right? How do you think is best for a prospective employee that is trying so hard? They're applying to their dream company, Apple, Amazon, all these Fortune 500 companies. How do you think a candidate, what do you think is the best way, best practice? Give us the best way a candidate can prepare can present themselves that you would let them in to see a Mr. Debola or Miss White.
Okay. So, yeah, I think this is another very important question, right? Because a lot of times, it's the first questions hiring managers will, or the hiring team will ask candidates, right? And a lot of people miss it from the very beginning because, like Mr. Bala said, right? They think they're asking you about your personal life story. They don't want to know how many cats or how many dogs you have. They're not interested. So when a hiring manager is asking you, tell me about yourself, right? What they're looking for, I'll say three things majorly, clarity, relevance, and impact, right? And so what they're asking you to give them is a professional snapshot. And not just any professional snapshot, is one that connects you directly to the role you're interviewing for. And so as a hiring manager, I want to know from your response, right? From your response, I want to know who you are professionally, right? So that will be like a brief summary of your background or your expertise. I want to know your key strengths or specialty areas, relevant achievements if you have any, and if you have any relevant qualifications, you can add that as well. And I also want to know, why you're excited about the role. The perfect I'll say answer will have to be one that is like it has to be structured. It has to be intentional. So best practice will be like a 20, 30-second overview that tells me who you are professionally, right? Like I said, what your skills, what you're strong at, and what value you've consistently brought to your team, and maybe the potential impact you're going to have on our team if we hire you. Because what this does is that it will show confidence, it will show preparation on your part, and it will also show self-awareness, right? And so candidates that are able to articulate, they immediately stand out because it tells me that they understand their own career story. They've researched the role and they can communicate clearly. I'll give you an example. If I was being interviewed for a role, for instance, right? Yeah, I'm in the HR field. And so I will say something like, I'm a data-driven HR and talent professional with experience supporting recruitment, workforce planning, and process optimization. Over the last few years, I've worked across both the public and private sectors. I also want to mention maybe my skills, like I said, right? And then I'll say something like I'm particularly strong in stakeholder management and problem solving. I enjoy roles where I can improve efficiency and help teams, something like that. I also want to mention that I'm excited about the role, right? And so I'll say something like what excites me about this role is the opportunity to bring that blend of HR strategy, data insight, operational excellence to a team that's focused on impact, something like that. So that if you listen to what I've just said, I didn't say anything personal. They are not interested in that, right? So just keep in mind when next you're interviewing for a role, that when you're asked this question, what they want you to give them or what they want to hear is a professional snapshot that connects you to the role you're interviewing for. Nothing personal. You have to keep it professional and high level.
Okay, so I got professional snapshots that connects you to the role.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, again, practice. If you have to write it down, practice. It is important. Nobody wants to hear about the cats, the dog, what you ate for
Yeah.
dinner, where you live. I mean, where you live could be important. I don't know. But from a HR perspective and a professional, she's saying she has just told you, she has just given you the secret sauce. So please, please, please pay attention to what these folks are saying. These guys have been working in their various field for over 10, 15 years, so they know what they're saying. Mr. Debola, can I come back to you for a question? Is that okay? And then I'll go with Miss White. Okay.
Sure.
So, Mr. Debola, what are some of the subtle red flags that you notice during interviews that candidates often don't realize they're showing? Like subtle red flags. Could you please help us shed some light into that?
Sure. I'll mention maybe about two or three of those.
Amazing.
So listening, I mentioned earlier, is so critical. So when a question is asked and you are not able to look at the individual directly in the eyes and answer the question, so you're not listening or you are not adaptable. So when you are not adaptable, automatically they see you will not be a good problem solver. So that's a red flag there. When you see that, you want to run away from that individual. Or when you are asking questions, the person gets angry. Those are some of the things you see. So, for example, in a panel, so different individuals are asking questions. Now, the train of thought may be different. So I'm asking the question from, let's say, we're trying to look for end-to-end process, a question. I pick it from the beginning, but the next person is taking it from the end. So if you can't adjust, it tells me right away this person may not be a good problem solver. Now, that's a tricky one though, because if you're an entry-level person, maybe it is because of that skill. Maybe the skill set is not there yet. But again, since we're talking about things we can prepare for now, it's better to think about that from the get-go. So another red flag in those interviews will be when you have not done any research about a company. That's a big red flag. Say, for example, we're talking and I'm asking you about my company, and you're not able to even talk about the basic things about a company, most likely you have not prepared. So preparation is key. And I take it back to what I call human operating system. You have to be able to figure out the mind of a person that will be talking to you. Again, you are thinking about what they are thinking. It's emotional intelligence too. If you can connect all of those, then you'll be able to avoid the red flag. So let me go back to where I started. So things that are important: communication is important, adaptability is important, emotional intelligence is important, problem solving ability is important. Then the opposite of all those will be red flags too. If you can't show any of those, then we want to run away from you. I won't even move forward because now I'm thinking it will be too much of work to get you up to speed if you can show me in this interview that you can do or you can show those qualities in the interview.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Debola. I love it. Again, preparation, listening, communication. The common thread is communication keeps coming back, okay? Listening, connecting with the interviewer, right? They're asking you a question and you're probably thinking about lunch. Please, guys, be present when you're interviewing, okay? So it is important to remember some of these red flags. And you guys, I'm not joking here. These are folks that you might even meet because they work with some heavy hitter Fortune 500 companies. So you might run into them when you go to interview in some of these companies. So thank you so much, Mr. Debola, for that question. Miss White, I'm coming back to you
May
with
I
my
add
next.
one more thing, please?
Sure, sure, go for it.
So I mentioned the word listening. I've said it like about two or three times already. I like to always remind folks that that word listen. So when you think about the spelling of listening or listen, you can rearrange the word. If you rearrange it, you can rearrange it to spell silent. So when you are interviewing, for you to listen, you have to remain silent. When the interviewer is asking questions and you want to talk to them at the same time when they're asking you the question, most likely you're going to miss very important cues. So again, be willing to listen, not just to respond, but to listen to understand so that you can give the right answers to the question they are specifically asking you.
I
Thank you.
love it. I love it. Active listening, guys. You guys, I know you're taking notes, but Thank you for adding that, Mr. Adibola. I really appreciate that. Miss White, are you ready for me?
I am.
All right. So the question that we've put together for you is what soft skills are becoming non-negotiable in today's public sector job market? Emotional intelligence is one, stakeholder management is another one, communication is one. But what I do want to do, Miss White, if you could please indulge me, I'm going to merge it. I'm going to give you a two-part question, okay? Because I want us to get to a lot of this information, a lot of these questions. So I'm going to merge it with another question. So if you don't mind, the next question should be, so part B of the question is, public sector roles often require strict compliance and structure. What are some red flags you have noticed within the public sector during interviews that indicate that a candidate is not aligned for the public sector?
Okay. So soft skills have always been important in today's environment. They're absolutely non-negotiable. Technical skills will get you into the interview and get you there, but soft skills is what gets you hired. Really, that's what gets you hired. And number one on the chart is communication. Communication, communication, communication. That involves writing English, your grammar, your spelling, all of that. That's involved in your communication, your speech. It's a part of your communication. You have to be concise and brief and get to the point. Don't be long, drawn out. I don't want a story of your life. I don't want a story of how you got here. I want you to answer the question, communicate to me that you understand what I'm saying and that you can respond to that. Another soft skill is adaptability. We all know in today's environment, we have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to pivot. You may be sitting at your desk one day, a project that your manager says to you that, oh, this is so important. They're waiting on this. It's due tomorrow. It's due tomorrow, and we need it done. Okay, but I have 20 other things that you told me was due today. You got to communicate to that. You got to communicate to them. All right. You say, okay, I do have these items here that you said are due today, and this one is due tomorrow. I need you to prioritize for me. There's nothing wrong with that. Get your answers, ask your question, prioritize for me, and they will tell you which one you need to get on right now. And so you're able to adapt and pivot and move on and get the job done. And if, for instance, you had forecast, say it would have taken you 2 hours, 4 hours to get the job done that they just gave you, and then looking at it, analyzing, you realize that, you know what, this is just going to take more time than that. You've already told them 2 hours. Do not sit there spinning your wheel. Get to them and said, listen, um, after doing an analysis, I realized that it'll take double the time, maybe 4 hours, 4 hours to get this done. So just want to let you know this, and just want to let you know this so we can move from there. And they're more than happy, most time they're more than happy to work with you and get that done because they know also that it takes time to get it done. But what folks don't like is when you say you can do it in 2 hours, but 3, 4 hours come, you have communicated with them and you still haven't gotten it done. That's a no-no. Another one is, of course, stakeholder management. Your stakeholders are extremely important. In many public roles, it involves navigating agencies, partners, the public, also consulting companies also contractors. So you have to be able to manage all those stakeholders individually and collectively. And then professionalism and accountability. You have to have a strong sense of responsibility. You have to have integrity, and that is non-negotiable. The federal government is very structured, very, very structured. A to B, A to Z. and a lot of times there is no deviation. There's no deviation from that. You can go in and you'll say, oh, there's an easier way to do this. We don't have to do A to Z. But do you know their processes? You have to learn the processes. It involves processes, it involves laws. And so if you don't know those, you would not be able to navigate that sphere successfully.
All right. Can you real quickly, did you, I don't think you've touched on compliance. Public sector rules often require compliance and structure. What are some red flags?
Yeah.
Just give us
So,
two or three, please.
yeah, I mean, some red flag is basically, so you're in an interview, you're interviewing with someone and they caught you in a lie.
Hmm.
No, you have to be honest and upfront. Integrity means a lot. If you have a gap in your
Right.
resume,
Mhm.
do not lie about it. Tell them what it is, what the gap was. And if you have been doing in maybe some nonprofit work or volunteering in the you can also bring that into play to say you have been doing that. But in the federal government, when you're applying for a job, it's very structured, very strict. And every if you say you have 10 years of experience, you actually have to have that 10 years of experience document. And if within that time span there is a gap, you have to be completely honest and above board for that. And don't forget also in some federal jobs that you have to have security clearance. So again, integrity, honesty, it's a must.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss White. I have 4 minutes um before we go to the breakout session. Yes. So, but I want to ask Miss Afora some questions because HR 2025, we're all going to get those dream jobs, right? We're putting it out in the universe. We're all going to get those jobs. So, Miss Afara, I want you to cap us, like round this up for us very strongly. I have a two-part question for you as well. The first one, and this is really important because we're going into 2026, but in
Mhm.
the 1 month that is left, we're hoping that a lot of people within our community get those jobs, but I think focusing at 2026, what I want to ask and find out from you is if you could give one piece of advice to job seekers, right? For 2025 hiring trends or even beyond 2026, what would that be? And then the part B of that question is, what is one question you wish candidates could ask you more as a HR talent acquisition during interviews? Could you please just shed some light into that for people in our community?
For sure. So for the first part, so one piece of advice, right? I think my biggest advice will be for aspiring candidates or potential, candidates, to make sure that they're focused on like building a career story that shows that they're adaptable. Because the job market is changing very, very fast, right? And so you want to make sure that you're building skills, you're evolving, every year. Because the people who thrive and the people who will like set themselves apart are those who will be able to, clearly communicate that they've been learning, how they learn, how they grow, and how they add value in these situations, right? And so, I mean, technical skills, like Miss Marie said, technical skills will matter, but you have to be able to adapt, right? Also, digital fluency. Right now, we know that there's a lot of, AI, technological advancement. And so you have to be able to adapt. You're learning new things, learning quickly. That will matter a lot. And so if you can show that you're continuously growing through courses, and the good thing is that there's so many free resources today. Very affordable. There's Coursera, Udemy, and YouTube. YouTube is free. You can literally learn anything on YouTube. So you want to take advantage of all of those resources and make sure you're building capacity, you're improving yourself skills. And like everybody has been saying, communication, I think, is the most important of the soft skills you can have. So practice, with your friend. Again, go to YouTube. So many resources on how you can improve yourself, how you can be better, right? And so your ability to be able to adapt will be your superpower in 2025, 2026, and beyond. So show that you're learning, keep learning, keep evolving, and I think that's what employers will be looking for in 2025 and beyond. People that are able to learn continuously and meet the demands of the modern business, right? And what was the second part?
The second part is, what is one question you wished candidates could ask you during
Oh yeah.
an
Oh yeah.
interview?
So I think, first of all, I think every candidate should ask questions after the interview. Some people don't. And I think it doesn't show that they're, excited about the role. Even if it's a little question, right? But every candidate should make sure they're asking questions at the end of an interview. But I say one of the things that I wish more candidates would ask questions around will be questions that will show that they're thinking beyond just the job description, that they're thinking long term, they're thinking long term success. And I think one of those questions is something like, what does success look like in this role in the first 90 days, right? Because when candidate asks questions like this, it tells me as a hiring manager that they're already thinking about their potential impact. They're thinking about expectations. They're thinking about how to align themselves with the team's priorities, right? Because it shows maturity on their part, it shows initiative, and it also shows real interest in performing well and not just getting the job, right? So also questions that touch on team dynamics. Candidates that ask questions like that, right? Like what's the leadership style, or what is the challenge that the team is facing? Those kind of questions, they kind of show, strategic thinking, and that they care about the fit, their contribution and growth. Yeah, just to sum it up.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I see a question in the chat, but I'll give you an opportunity to ask once you join those breakout rooms. So we're going to be going very shortly to the breakout rooms. You would have an opportunity to engage with our panelists, our professionals and our panelists in just a second. Omari, can you please come off mute and let me know if you're ready, and tell them who is in what room so people are not hopping around.
Okay, so the breakout rooms are ready. I will launch it in a minute. Room 1 is Afora. Adibola is in room 2 and Miss White is in room 3. So currently all rooms are open. You are free to join any group that you want.
Awesome. And then we'll be back after the sessions. We'll be back to our room, to this session, to round it up and maybe give 2 more minutes to ask additional questions, and then we'll round it up from there. All right, everybody's free to join whatever room you want to join.
Hi everyone. So we're currently having a breakout session, and if you are here, please join any of the groups. Room 1, room 2, room 3. It is a great idea to do so. Room 1 has Afora, the HR lady. Room 2 has Adibola, the guy in the private sector. Room 3 has Miss White, the lady in government. So please join one of the sessions. Any of the questions that you have, you can then start asking during this breakout session. So this was created for you to ensure you are taking full advantage of the panel session and the panelists. So please join a group a room. Richard, Miller, Okoy, Kayode, Erasmus, Fortune, Mr. Anonymous, Collins, Iggs. You should be part of the breakout session. Leslie, Sean, Adriana, please join the breakout session. Who else is here? FT, UD Red, please join the breakout sessions. You have questions, please ask the interviewers now, the professionals now rather.
Hi, Omari.
Hi, who is speaking?
Hi, this is Coyote.
Oh,
Is
hi.
it possible that you can drop? For some reason, I'm not able to see the rooms, so I can't join. Maybe perhaps it's because I'm on my phone. Would you be able
Okay,
to put me into room 2? Is that possible?
very possible. I will be doing that right now. Just hold on a
All right.
second.
With
Room
Debola. Yeah.
2.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Oh, okay. Coyote, sorry, I'm trying to find your name. Okay, awesome. So I've done that. You're in room 2 now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm just going to be adding people to rooms since we don't want to leave. Sean, assigned to room 3. Sean, I've assigned you to room 3. Please join. AA, I would automatically assign you to room 2. Sean and A, please join your rooms. Okay, yeah, awesome. ATS is your turn. You're going to room 1. Anonymous, I'm assigning you to 3. Please join your groups. FT, room 1. Fortune, room 3. X, room X, room 3. Leslie, room 3. McCoy, room 3. Collins, you've been assigned. Everyone has currently been assigned to your rooms. Please join so you could get the best of the program. You're already here, so you might as well just maximize it.
Omari, we have two people waiting.
Oh, waiting to join the meeting. So okay.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Let's give everybody a minute to get back. How did that go? For those that are back, how did that go?
Uh, awesome. It's a good workshop you're giving us right here. There's a lot of nuggets we picked up. You just keep learning every day. You just keep getting stuff every day that you think you probably think you know it all, but sometimes stuff hits you and you'll be like, oh my God,
I
But
know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know, I know. I agree. I agree. And I think it's always good to just learn from other people's perspective, like understand from other people's experience. And I think when you get experiences from various people, it will help you grow and be a better person, period, right? Regardless
Sure.
of if it
I'm
is
so
work
sorry.
related or not.
Oh God. Someone was asking a question and we got cut off.
Oh, yeah, because we're
Sorry.
back
I
in the
know.
room. It's okay. It's okay. We'll maybe I think this is a very good session. Everybody enjoyed it. But for those that are back from that HR room, how did it go? Can I just get a feedback from HR room? How did that go?
They had amazing questions, by the way. Let me just say that.
They had amazing
Yeah,
questions. You
yeah.
had a lot of people too. Can I just have one person come off mute and share with me how they thought the HR session? I need one person from each room, right? Because it's good for us to gauge, how you guys enjoyed this so that we know what else to add to some of our sessions. Can someone that attended the HR session just come off mute really quickly and tell me in 1 minute how that session went? Any takers?
Hey, it's Michael again. I attended the three rooms. I'll be honest with you. So I'll let somebody else go ahead and do. But I will tell you, the HR, as you know, was the first entry. It was good. We got a lot of information, good nuggets, and a lot of folks were asking, hey, sometimes, I send in resumes and, what am I doing wrong, and we got some good answers to that, And on the other side, the gentleman was so true to, like, hey, communication, I think a gentleman asked about, hey, I have an accent. Is it okay if I tell the person interviewing me to repeat the question? I think, he gave a good answer to that. And the last one for me, the third room I went into, talking to Miss Rosemary, was about, the security clearance part of it. Just, I really wanted to know because a lot of the JDs you get, out the bat, they tell you, hey, security clearance required, and sometimes you want to find out how you go through that. How do you kind of get that, And she kind of explained that, sometimes the consulting firm you work with could apply for you, and the process could take a couple of months and all that good stuff. So, yeah, there were a lot of information. A good. The three rooms were good. Like I said, I attended the three rooms, just jumping from one
Awesome.
room to the other. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Any other takers who attended the public sector room, the private sector room? And I see a comment saying that they wish that we didn't have breakout session. All right, we'll take all of that into consideration. Good to know your feedback. We will definitely take it into consideration. We're sampling a lot of different options on how we better, serve and get people to have the skills that they need. So any takers on public sector room or private sector room?
I have an outstanding question that I'll send an answer to you later. And I'll tell you what the question is so that in case I forget, it's if you are not able to answer a particular question that you are asked during an interview, what is the best way to respond to that? So I wasn't able to respond before we had to leave the breakout session. So I'll provide that by chat. Maybe later you can pass it to the individual.
We will pass it to the team for sure, for sure. Um, any the breakout rooms should be longer. Okay, we'll take so Omari, let's take notes of all of the feedback. We will definitely take all of that into consideration. But before we go, right, really quick, Mr. Adibola, maybe I'll give everybody if that is actually a very important question. So I would really like you to share your insight or perspective on how to answer that question. It's good because somebody might just have an interview coming up next week that question might, that ish situation might come up, and it will be beneficial for them to know how to respond. So would you please just talk
Yes.
about that very briefly?
I always say, don't wing it.
Don't
Do
wing it.
not wing it. Now, for the most part, it may be the most important question to that particular hiring manager. So if you try to wing it and you miss the mark, that's the end. So again, like I said, when we're in the breakout room, that interview session may be the only opportunity you have to be in front of that hiring manager or in front of the panel. So instead of winging it, just be honest. You know what? I've not thought about that particular question before. If it is a technical question you don't know the answer to, don't just throw something out there thinking it's gonna stick. No, just tell them, well, you know, let me research and get back to you on that if possible. Now, again, it's a chance. If you just throw anything out there and what you say is completely left field, you're gonna miss the opportunity anyway. So instead of doing that, let them see you to be a very transparent, honest individual and say, you know what, I've never heard that before. And let me look into that and I'll get back with you.
Amazing. And Miss White actually mentioned the same thing during her initial answer. If you remember, she said honesty is key, especially in the public sector. Always, always tell the truth. Because if you're going to work for the federal government, for example, or a bank or any of this public sector, and you start lying about stuff that you really shouldn't be lying about, like who would put their whole company's, information in your care, right? So it sets a bad precedence, period. So as much as possible, let's make sure we're honest. I know Miss Afora did say there was a question that she would have loved to answer. I'm giving you the opportunity to do so right now. Would you please just highlight the question and answer it very briefly for us?
Yeah, so I didn't get the full question, but I think someone AO was asking a question, I think as a follow-up to something Miss Mary said. I don't know, do you want to come up and ask that question? Is it AO?
Absolutely. Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hello.
Okay. So the question I was asking is, I think in a way it's in three parts. So um we just mentioned it now, like they talked about being honest when you're when you're talking to the HR person. But so for crafting your resume for someone who's had like immigration issues at some point and has like a really long gap, I don't know, and has had to recraft. The person has been out of workforce for a long time, and then the person has to just re-enter, so it's a long gap between, and the person just had like what's it called, just should I say menial experiences in between just to keep up for that period of time, and they've done trainings now to be able to get into tech. So what in that situation, I mean, the person has crafted her resume so far and has been trying to apply, but what she did was she covered up the gaps somehow in her resume. She used the same companies but kind of tweaked the job role title to suit what she has right now, and she was also advised to say like she's had like 5 years experience and all that. So in my question would be, what is your take on this kind of situation? Because one, it's not easy for you to explain to the recruiter that kind of situation, and two, having that 5 years experience on there, like is that right? Is this something you should do?
So Miss Afara, real quick before you answer, we only have 6 more minutes, right? And we still have a few additional announcements. So if you could just be very, very, very brief so we can be very respectful of everyone's time, I would really appreciate that.
Okay, so just quickly, so having a resume gap, right? It's not a problem. The honest truth is that you have to be truthful, you have to be honest. And then I think the main thing is for you to be able to frame it professionally, right? And to let them know if it was maybe a parenting gap, relocation gap, just make sure you're framing it. There's no, if you lie in your resume, there's a way like that hiring managers are able to frame questions, and when you respond, they're able to tell that you're lying. So just be as honest as possible. Explain, like I said, professionally, what happened. Is it a relocation gap? What happened? That's absolutely fine. But you have to also make sure that, during that waiting period, during that gap, you can show that you did some learning on the side, and, just to keep upskilling, right? To keep learning. I think that's just what I'll say on that.
Awesome, awesome. Miss White, I have a minute for you also. Was there a question, a pending question that you wished you had answered?
No, we didn't have, I think we went through all our questions, but one thing I would like to say to everyone is this. I'm an introvert. So if you say you're an introvert and you can't, you have a hard time talking to folks, a hard time being friendly, a hard time networking, I'm sorry, get over it. Introvert doesn't get you anywhere. You have to become an extrovert. You have to, it's almost, be an actress or
Yeah,
an
pretend to
actor
be an
in that case.
extrovert.
Yeah, pretend to be an extrovert and you'll get it done. I mean, there is nothing, quickly, I'll tell you how I got one job one time. I joined an organization named AGA, and I was the president that year. And so I went to the conference I volunteered. I went to the conference volunteer, right? And when I was there volunteering, someone came to me and said, "Hey, Rosemary, this company's here and they're hiring. They're hiring, they're interviewing." So I quickly went and said, "Oh yeah, let me go check that out." The person who I couldn't figure out where to go, so I knew that there was one person from that company giving a speech, facilitating a session. So I waited outside the door, and this is me, the introvert. I waited outside the door, and she comes out. It was a, "Hi, how are you? Hi, my name is Rosemary White, and I heard that you guys were hiring. I'm so interested. Where can I go? Who can I speak with to get my resume in front of someone?" And she was so nice. She said, "Oh, absolutely. I can take you there." And she walked me over there. And I never forgot the person name. Her name is Kelly. Her name was Kelly. And up until this day, from time to time, I will reach out to her and say, "Hey, Kelly, how are you doing?" But what I'm telling you is that be nice. All I said, I don't mean to I don't mean, to take up much of your time, but always that but nicely smile, show your teeth or whatnot. But all I'm saying is that put yourself out there. You have nothing to lose. You don't have it right
Absolutely.
now, so what is there
Yes.
to lose?
Yes. Awesome. All right. Thank you so, so much to
And
all our panelists.
can I just add to what Ms. Mary just said?
Yes.
Um, in terms of putting yourself out there, right? For those of you that have like LinkedIn and all of that, don't be afraid to reach out to people, right?
Yes. Yes.
I can tell you one of the jobs that I got here in Canada was because I reached out to the director on LinkedIn because I looked at it in this way. What's the absolute worst that can happen, right? The worst thing that can happen is that this person will not respond to me. But what if they respond to me, right? So make sure, don't be afraid, just put yourself out there. Send that
Awesome.
director a message. You never know.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We only have a minute left. Thank you. Thank you so much to Miss Afora, Miss Weiss, Mr. Adibola. I really appreciate you guys spending your 1.5 hours with us. I am super duper thankful and grateful for you because we do want our folks to be successful. We do want them to get that dream job that they're trying to get in 2026 or 2025. So I really, really am super duper grateful that you guys spent your 1.5 hours, like I said, with us. Real quick, folks. Again, thank you for showing your love. Thank you for appreciating this, folks. Quick announcements because we're right on time. So quick announcement before we go. Miss Afara is going to be coming back to Edgeworks to present a data and analytics class on, Omari, can you tell me the date real quick? She's going to be putting the form on. We want you guys to register. We want you to be as prepared as possible for that upcoming job. So we have a data analytics class coming up. We do want you guys to, have all the skills that you need. So make sure you check that out. We have a feedback form that we want to hear from you. We want you to tell us what you thought was helpful during the class, what you think we can improve on, what you liked, what you didn't like. We want to definitely hear from you. So it will be very good to hear back from you. Again, we have a WhatsApp group. So please join the WhatsApp group. We're going to have tons and tons of activities coming up in the next few weeks, and we're preparing for next year. We don't want anyone to be left behind. We want to create those opportunities, and we want our folks to have a seat at the table. It is really important to us. So don't forget, join the WhatsApp group, follow us on Instagram. And again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. We're not going to have time for additional questions, but reach out to us through one of our social media and link, and we'll try to answer those questions. Have a good night, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Before you leave, please just take a moment to scan this. It's easier to reach us on Instagram and on WhatsApp. So if you could just take a moment, follow us on IG. We'll respond to your DMs, we'll respond to your comments and whatnot. We've also placed the link to the Google form for your feedback and to the WhatsApp group in the chat. So please make use of them. We are so thankful that you're a part of this, and we look forward to you being in our classes. So just scan the form on the screen and you'll be with us on Instagram. Thank you guys so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much.